All right, man. So you know what it is, man. How y'all doing, man? Hope everybody's good. All right, man. I had to drop this episode today, and you'll see the other ones tomorrow. But because the verdict might come out, so I want to drop this ASAP. It might come out at 12 o'clock tonight because YouTube is taking so long to upload my videos and put them out. I don't know why it's taking forever to upload. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's been acting up for the last couple of days. So anyway, this here is about Diddy maybe found not guilty. Because of so many things that happened today in court. If you've been living under a rock, then you know that Diddy's on trial. Diddy's on trial for a bunch of different charges. One of the biggest charges is RICO, and they're trying to get him. It's the United States government versus Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy Combs. And yeah. And he is going through a jury. This is not a judge guilty decision. This is a jury of his peers decision. And one of the jurors, juror 25, that's what they're calling him, or her, or whoever it is. We don't really know for sure. Just people just saying it, but they don't know for sure. They don't supposed to be putting stuff out there like that. But anyway, this juror person said they're not following. The other jurors said that he or she is not following the judge's orders. So who knows? This person might be trying to find Diddy guilty, or they might be trying to find Diddy innocent, and they're not going along with it. So, and if they don't go along with it, then I believe that's a hung jury. And in this way, it would be, they would have to come back and do it all over again. And the federal government would have to recharge him and do all this stuff over again. And who knows, the case might be stronger next time, or the case might be weaker next time. But who knows? So before we get into that, Legendary Spill, this is Torch Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, you know to find the ones that just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me the Hidden Gem. 1,300 subscribers, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,000. And yes, I am the king of the north. Let me know what kingdom you are from. So we're going to get right to this, man. It should be very interesting. So let's get it. All right, so let's get to it, man. Let's do it. Let's do it.
The Diddy trial went to jury deliberation this morning, and ever since it went to jury deliberation, there's been nothing but chaos ensuing. But in this video, I'm gonna break down why I believe that chaos is actually gonna work in Diddy's favor. I obtained the jury sheet of the official charges the jurors are being asked to vote on. So let's take a look at it so we can figure out which charges that we believe is gonna stick and which ones we don't believe is gonna stick. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy, is the most interesting of the counts because of the
Yo, look at this, bro. This is crazy. Look at this, bro. This is a real rap sheet. This is nuts, yo. This is nuts. This is nuts.
Complexity that comes to racketeering. As you read right here, if you find defendant guilty of count 1, which types of racketeering acts do you unanimously find were involved in the offense? Now, that tasks the jurors with not listing 1, but they have to list at least 2 of the acts under racketeering that they believe the prosecutors proved that Diddy committed. And those acts are kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, or forced labor. So if they believe that Diddy, let's say, witness tampered, but didn't do anything else, not guilty. But if they find that Diddy, let's say, witness tamper and, I don't know, did forced labor, well, guilty. So you have to prove or find him guilty on at least 2 of those acts. That's why I think racketeering is very interesting, because if, let's say, they come back with, yo, he's guilty of kidnapping and he's guilty of bribery, well, that sets the temperature for the other counts, because the other counts includes kidnapping. Some of the misinformation going around is people...
This is crazy, bro. I'm stressed. I'm gonna stress this and tell y'all this. I don't like Diddy. I never did. For what he did to that woman, beating her like that, nah, I don't get down with that. But I don't think he's getting a fair trial. This is crazy. You're telling me that this man ran a criminal organization? Is that what you're saying? Where are all the other co-conspirators if he ran a criminal organization? That's what I need to know. Because there's no way in the world you telling me that he ran the criminal organization and everybody else is just free to go. It's to run a crime syndicate. That's why it's called a syndicate. You can have a leader, but you still have to get the rest of them too. It's like, come on, bro.
Believing that Diddy can't be found guilty on racketeering because the prosecutors didn't list any co-conspirators. Racketeering means criminal organization. Diddy is head of the organization per se. Well, who were the people committing crimes on behalf of Diddy and why weren't they charged? Well, the prosecutors addressed that in their closing statements and they made sure to instruct the jurors, don't listen to these people telling you that just because there's no co-conspirators doesn't mean that there's not a racketeering going on. The prosecutors actually listed a name of people, employees of Diddy under his company, and they told the jurors, if you believe that these people helped Diddy commit crimes based on the testimonies you heard today in court or during this trial, then that's racketeering. It don't matter if those people weren't co-conspirators or they, didn't testify or, they weren't charged with anything. If you believe based on what you heard today in court or throughout this trial that these people helped Diddy commit crimes, racketeering, he's out of here. The three people.
But you see how this is what I'm saying. You see how this is positioned. So they this is why I said they real tricky, man. They real tricky. You gotta really pay attention to how they do things. They're really, really tricky. So you're telling me that you didn't put none of these other people on trial, but the jury basically can say, well, if they did work with Diddy, then we would consider that racketeering, even though these people are not on trial for racketeering. So I don't understand how they're allowed to get away with that. I I'm thinking that you're telling me that this man, you didn't, if they was employed with him, they were co-conspirators only under the pretense that the jury believes that they're co-conspirators. What? So the jury could basically just say that these people are co-conspirators without them really being co-conspirators. That's what you're saying. Of your opinion, if you believe that they're co-conspirators, then they are because he's the top guy. But what if there wasn't co-conspirators? What if they felt as though they wasn't a part of a crime syndicate? You get what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. Like, I've never seen that like this. This is wild.
People they're listing as the unofficial co-conspirators are Fahim Muhammad, Christina Karam, and Damian D-Rock. These are the people they're claiming helped Diddy run the criminal organizations by committing crimes on behalf of Diddy or organizing crimes or recruiting people to commit crimes on behalf of Diddy. Fahim Muhammad, we know who he is, bruh. He's the dude who makes things goes away. That's apparently the dude when Diddy's son shot somebody, he showed up, made the crime scene go away because he got ties to law enforcement officials. And apparently he's the one allegedly who had law enforcement on Diddy payroll. So Fahim, we know he's been linked to the CIA for a while now, bro. He was Michael Jackson head security guard, I believe, at like 21 years old. He was on duty when Michael Jackson passed away. Christina was allegedly Diddy's personal do girl. She was involved in setting up the free calls, sending out payments to silence people. She essentially did Diddy's bidding, according to the feds, right? She was Diddy's do girl. D-Rock, we know he was the muscle, bro. Security guard, he committed a lot of kidnapping on behalf of Diddy, allegedly, from what we heard at trial. So these were their roles. And they're saying, based on what y'all heard at trial, you know these people had roles in Diddy running this criminal organization. And if you believe that any of these three helped Diddy commit crimes, then it's a criminal organization. And they're also
But That's what I'm saying. How can you have him on trial for all this, but then tell the jury if you believe that they did it, then yeah, they did it. Like whatever happens to yo, this is crazy, bro. This is crazy. This is crazy. So you basically telling the jury they could just believe whatever. They don't have to, you don't have to prove it. It's like, well, if you believe they was a part of it, they worked for them, so yeah, they was a part of a criminal organization. Like what? How does that make sense? I don't understand it. How does that make sense? That you're telling the jury, you, based off what we told you, if you believe that they were a criminal organization, they worked for him, then it was a criminal organization. But if you don't believe it, so you're basically saying that these people didn't even come to court. They didn't even sit in front of a jury. You know what? You cross-examine them. They wasn't questioned at all. But for some reason, the jury is allowed to say whether they were a part of a criminal organization or not. Yo, this is crazy, bro. This is crazy.
Saying you don't even have to have an identity for the people that you believe committed crimes. If you believe that anyone helped Diddy committed these crimes, then it's a racketeering. The U.S. attorney dismissed Diddy's lawyer's suggestions that there was no criminal enterprise because no one testified that they were a part of a criminal enterprise. This was their address to the members of the jury. This is from the U.S. attorney. The U.S. attorney stated, members of the jury, use your common sense and look at the evidence. Whether you're receiving a paycheck from a lawful business or not, when you direct other people to get or transport drugs for your boss, you're committing a crime. When your boss asks you to buy and bring him drugs and you do it, you're agreeing to commit a crime. When you go with your boss to kidnap another employee and make her take you to someone's house, you are agreeing to commit a crime. And when you lock your boss' girlfriend in a hotel room after your boss stomped on her face and won't let her leave, you're agreeing to commit a crime. And what the evidence shows is that over and over, the defendant and his inner circle agreed to commit crimes together. That's what racketeering conspiracy is. You don't even have to have a name, a face to this. If you believe that an employee helped Diddy do this on behalf of Diddy, then you have to vote racketeering conspiracy.
That's a crazy law, and that's a type of law that I believe is made to just set people up for nothing. So you're basically saying that you don't have to have no evidence of none of this. You could just believe what we tell you. That's really it. Because you don't even have to hear the other person's side. We're just telling you what we think happened, even though we don't have any credible witnesses to this. But if you believe it, even though the witnesses wasn't credible, half of them got caught in lies. If you believe it, then that's what it is. That's insane. This is insane. So basically, you're saying that it's a criminal organization. So, all right, I'll give it to you like this. If my boss told me to do something and I didn't know, right, that it was illegal, even though I know they saying that, that's not a justification to break the law, because if you trespass and you don't know that you trespass, it's still not a justification to break the law. I understand that. But use your, it's so crazy how a lawyer who got a man on trial is telling the jury to use their common sense when they were supposed to prove to the jury without a shadow of a doubt that this actually happened. This person is asking them to use their common sense instead of saying, hey, you know what? This is how we know this person. So you basically telling them, well, we don't need these other people. We'll just get the jury to just say that it was a crime syndicate, even though we have no real proof that it was a crime syndicate. I know some of y'all saying, well, the victims were the proof. Well, some of the victims were lying. They got caught in lies. Their stories was jumbled up. So should we believe everything they said? Or should we take everything they said at face value? You can't be like, oh, well, they lied, but something happened. What about if it didn't happen? You know what I'm saying? Like some of this stuff, listen, man, I don't care. I'm not no Diddy sympathizer. But y'all not gonna sit here and hit me over the head with some of this garbage. I'm sorry. You're not gonna do that. I don't like Diddy at all. But I am not gonna sit here and let people just run me over with bullshit. Like, no, I'm sorry.
They pretty much done set Diddy in a corner with this. That count one is gonna set the temperature. If it comes back and we hear not guilty for count one racketeering, then what we know is they either think that Diddy did none of the acts that he's been accused of committing, or he committed only one. That could be very good news for Diddy either way. If they come back and they say not guilty of everything, then how do you proceed and find him guilty on the other counts that includes some of the things that's under racketeering? But if you come back and say, yo, he's guilty.
And that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's like they got it to the point where if he gets found not guilty on one thing, but then he gets found, then they go back and they say he's guilty of this. It goes right back to the thing where he was not guilty on. This is crazy. Like what type of law is this? Like this, I don't understand how this is even fair. This is crazy. This is crazy, man.
Of one thing, then how do you come back and find him guilty on a slew of other things outside of that one other thing? So let's take a look at the other counts so you understand what I'm talking about. If you look at the other acts under racketeering, you see trafficking, you see transportation for purposes of prostitution, and you also see drug distribution under racketeering. So let's just say he gets found not guilty on racketeering. Well, then you go to count two. If he's not guilty of trafficking, then he's probably not going to be guilty of trafficking under count two, or Mann Act transportation, which is transfer in Cassie for prostitution under count three. Now, I'll be real. Even if Diddy is, let's say, found guilty of racketeering, I don't think it's going to be for trafficking Cassie. I think we heard enough during this trial to where Cassie was essentially a willing participant. Cassie essentially signed up for these freak offs. She was scheduling this, she was paying for it, she was looking forward to it. There were times where she was texting, asking to do this. So I don't think, bruh, after what we just heard at trial, that anybody is gonna vote for Cassie being trafficked. So I feel like for count two or three at least, is not guilty. Which would make Diddy paying Cassie that $20 million all the dumber. If you went to criminal court and got found not guilty, then you probably should have just held off, right? If you were gonna get arrested, if you're gonna have your reputation ruined anyways, then why just give up that $20 million easy? She still came to court and testified against you. Right? You should have at least made her work for that $20 million or take it to court, right? And take your chances. Now, we know people like OJ got found not guilty in criminal court, but guilty in civil court. So that's still a possibility, but Diddy should have at least tested the waters, bruh. Because if he's already gonna get arrested, facing life in prison, she's still testifying against you, then what's the point?
Listen, he explained that very well. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. First of all, I would never get caught up in something like this. I'm not, unless I get set up. But outside of that, I'm never gonna get caught up in none of you chicks doing goofy stuff like this. Nah, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not. But the point I'm making is, he's absolutely right. If I was Diddy, maybe it was best that he didn't pay her that money. I guess sometimes, you're trying to make things go away, so you pay this money, and then she comes and she testifies against you. This is crazy, man.
4 and 5 are charges in relations to Jane Doe, which I believe is Daffy and Joy, 50 Cent's baby mama. From what we heard at trial, bruh, Daffy and Joy was a willing participant, bruh. She admitted that she did this because she wanted to, I guess, prove her love for Diddy. I don't see how that's trafficking. Now, is it prostitution? I feel like the transportation is of the male escorts. They got transported. But if we're not talking about the male escorts, we're talking about Jane Doe, I don't see Diddy being found guilty of the Mann Act transportation of Jane Doe for a prostitution. Because no, right? No, because Diddy didn't prostitute them. He made them pay the male escorts. The male escorts, I believe, were prostituted But the reasons why the male escorts are not being listed as a count is because Diddy made the women. They pay the male escorts. Those women committed crimes. This has to be a unanimous decision. So why right now is looking favorable for Diddy? Because right when jury deliberation began, it became perfectly clear that one of the jurors weren't following instructions, didn't know how to follow instructions, were not cooperating with the other jurors. In that particular case, all you need is one troublemaker. And if that person is gun-ho on not guilty, it's gonna be a hung jury.
We want to update you on this breaking news that is happening inside of the federal courthouse. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft. Kelly, you have the latest on this jury note. It sounds like there may be already some infighting inside of that deliberation room.
Well, hi there, Julia. Such an interesting development in the federal courthouse behind me. So it was just around 1 o'clock. There started to be some movement, and we began to hear that there was a juror note. So, of course, when that happens, everyone hurries back inside the courthouse to hear what the note is going to be, what it's going to say. So everyone began to gather. It took about a half hour, a little bit longer for everyone to make their way back into the courtroom, the attorneys, all the parties involved. And then we heard what the note said. The judge read it aloud. We have a full screen made for you so everyone gets a chance to see exactly what the jury note said. It says, we have a juror number 25, who we are concerned cannot follow your honor's instructions. The foreperson then asked to speak with the judge or that particular juror be interviewed. So what do we know about juror number 25? We know he's male. We know he is a scientist. We know that during the jury selection process that he had told both sides that he had seen that hotel video in which Sean Diddy Combs is seen assaulting Cassie Ventura. This is inside the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. He had said that he did see that video, and he also said, Julia, that he had formed an opinion about that particular video. But then he was very clear that he was able to set his opinion aside to be able to go forward and have a fair, impartial look at this entire case. But now we're having a situation where this...
Bro, this is crazy. So they removed one juror. They removed the one juror because he said he lived in the Bronx, and then he said that he was staying with his girlfriend in New Jersey. So they removed him 6 weeks into the case, whatever, 4 weeks. But this guy here seen the video of Cassie being beat by Diddy, right? And said that he can formulate an opinion, act like he never seen it, and he is allowed to stay on the jury. This is crazy.
Same juror now, according to the note that was just sent out, is not following those instructions. And so what did the judge end up saying? How did he handle this situation? He sent them back and said, you are supposed to follow the jury instructions. Go back and continue deliberating. So that is where we stand right now, Julia, with that big development here in court.
That juror don't look like he's pro-Diddy, but if he's pretty adamant that he can't be unbiased against Diddy and they're still forcing him to proceed, I mean, that could be cause for a mistrial later on, right? Or an overturning or an appeal. Now, this juror who told them beforehand he already seen the video with Cassie and Diddy at the Intercontinental, and he was judging Diddy for it, or he can't be non-biased after seeing that video, that juror was still allowed to proceed. But the juror who was residing in Brooklyn, but told one of the guards or somebody in passing that he had moved to Jersey after trial had started, that juror was kicked off, was kicked off the jury. And that's
what I'm saying, bro. This is crazy. Listen, bro, I don't care how you feel about Diddy. All I'm saying is there's no way in the world y'all can tell me this is fair. Like, come on. All of these different things is happening. Listen, if Diddy did some of these things, at least y'all can say that they're fighting fire with fire. At least y'all can say that. Y'all can at least say that, okay, Diddy did some dirty things, so, okay, they did some dirty things. At least y'all can admit that they're doing some dirty things to this man. At least y'all can admit that. Because that's dirty, bro. Like, come on, let's be honest. That's dirty. Like, you remove a juror who's been on the case all this time because he moved to Jersey, even though he's from that. What's the difference? Why does that matter? Because he moved to Jersey. It doesn't matter. He still got there. Like, I mean, he's still from where Diddy's from. Why does it matter? He still appear. I don't get it. But this guy here who formulates an opinion about Diddy after he sees the video, he's allowed to stay on there. Like, come on, bro.
Only juror that fit the profile of Diddy perfectly. Young black man from New York. And that juror was fighting to still be like in the jury pool. This is insane, man. I'll be real. This could be like a mistrial or something, man. Now, a note came back that gives me some hope for Diddy. Now, first off, as much chaos as possible always works in the favor of the defendant. Chaos means nobody is on the same page. Not on the same page means a unanimous decision can't happen. But now they're inquiring and asking the right questions. So they brought Diddy back into like the courtroom, and they brought a note from the jury. And the jurors had a question for the attorney general, the prosecutors, and the judge. And here is the question that I believe actually works in Diddy's favor. The jury had a question regarding the drug distribution count. And their question was, if an individual asks for a controlled substance and the person hands it over, is it distribution? Now, the reason why that question is very important, that shows the jury is deliberating over consent. That shows the jury is looking at all the evidence of Cassie asking for drugs, of Diddy putting Cassie in rehab. They're kind of looking at the free calls too. They're looking at Cassie asking for the free calls, and it looks like they're thinking heavily about consent. And if they're thinking about consent, that means this is not an open and shut case. That this is not a case where they believe that Cassie is at no fault and that she was this perfect victim that Diddy trafficked. No, they're looking at the details, and I believe that they will come back with Cassie was a willing participant. She didn't get trafficked, and Diddy did not distribute drugs to Cassie. Cassie sought out those drugs herself. The judge stated they will answer the question tomorrow morning, but that's an interesting question. If I'm already doing my drugs and you're right next to me and you ask, hey, bro, let me get some of that, please, and I hand it over to you, does that count? I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. Y'all.
Now, he might have not seen this part, but the prosecution said yes. And I believe Diddy team had until 6 o'clock today for them to actually put it out, what actually happened. How they felt about it. They didn't say yes. You know what I'm saying? They didn't say yes. And then once they put out whatever they're going to put out. But that is another insane thing. So if I pass you a joint, I'm distributing drugs to you? I understand it sounds like that because on its face, I am giving it to you. But they know that's a nuanced thing, because if you think about it, if you sitting next to me and I pass you a joint and you smoking with me, you smoking a blunt with me or whatever, right? I don't understand how anybody can think that that's distributing drugs. Distributing, in my opinion, which they would need to update this, but distributing would be, okay, yeah, I got a pound of something and I'm taking it to you and selling it to you, and then you're selling it to somebody, and then that's distributing. We smoking in the comfort of our own whatever environment. You're telling me that that's distributing? But the thing is, if you're saying it's distributing, wouldn't it be to someone who wasn't using drugs? What happens if you already using some and I got some here and I give you some of mine and you give me some of yours? Are we distributing to each other? Like, it's so stupid. It's stupid. I understand distributing when you have something and you bring it to somebody that's in another state or something or whatever. I understand that part of distributing, but if you're telling me that if people in their house and they smoking something and they pass them something, that's distributing, that's bullshit. Sorry. No, I'm not rolling with that.
I mean, no. But even if Diddy gets found guilty on drug distribution, even if the answer to like that question is yes, that's distribution, cool. I think their focus on consent is gonna play well in Diddy's favor, man. Even if he loses the battle with the drug distribution, just their mindset. Yo, if she asked to participate in these free golfs, is it trafficking? If their mind is already going there for distribution, their mind is going there for the other things, man. But y'all let me know in the comment section. This is just my theory on why I believe.
Yeah, that was a pretty good episode. That was a really good episode. Shout out to him, man. I know I disagree with him on that Kendrick take, but he be having some good takes. So what do I think? I think the longer they deliberate, the longer it's better for Diddy, in my opinion. I don't think Diddy should be charged for any of this stuff. I think Diddy should be charged for assault, assault on that woman, doing whatever he did to her. As far as domestic violence, yeah, I think he should be charged with that. But this here, no, absolutely not. I believe everybody was willing participants, and if you're gonna say that them 3 people that work for Diddy were a part of a criminal organization, then you have to say all the other people that was so-called victims were a part of the criminal organization as well. You can't separate the two. Be like, oh no, well, like Cassie worked for him. Why she's not a part of the criminal organization? All the rest of them did too. Then the other woman she signed a love man. I don't know what to say anymore, man. I'm just saying. But thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. I'm out of here. Peace. Bye.